Gus Kenworthy feels like whole new person leading into Pyeongchang, New York. Gus Kenworthy looks at photos from the Sochi Olympics and doesn't recognize himself. It's not just the facial hair he couldn't grow then. That Gus seems much younger, different. In photos now, he sees himself and thinks, yeah, that's what I look like. Sure, he's matured and that's part of it. But Kenworthy's life and outlook have changed in ways that would be unrecognizable to that younger guy smiling atop a Sochi podium. Coming out publicly as gay in 2015 has plenty to do with the different Gus he sees now, but so too does the boom in his skiing career that followed. 4 years ago, he was a 22-year-old skier with loads of potential but little recognition outside the sport. As he heads to Pyeongchang, Kenworthy has gone from dark horse to medal favorite, from relative unknown to one of the most marketable athletes going into the games, from a closeted gay man to an outspoken champion for the LGBT community and its rights. More, Nathan Chen elevates U.S. hopes for figure skating gold. More, 10 to watch. Hilary Knight hopes to bring gold back to U.S. hockey. I kinda feel like a whole new person because I've come out publicly and I feel really great just about that in myself and being able to be open about my sexuality and honest and authentic and all of those things, he said. I think that since coming out and since the Olympics, my competitive career has gone well, better than it had in the past. And I feel great about it. Kenworthy, 26. Is one of 2 out athletes on the U.S. team for these games, with figure skater Adam Rippon as the other. In Sochi, he won silver in slopestyle as part of a U.S. sweep. Kenworthy desperately wanted to acknowledge his then-boyfriend, Robin, but he hadn't come out to his family and he was concerned about what it would mean for his career and sponsors. A year later, with the relationship faltering, Kenworthy was ready to quit the sport following a disappointing showing at the X Games. Michael Spencer, his longtime agent, convinced him to finish out the season and to consider how he could come out while still competing, something Kenworthy had not thought possible. After a night out partying in Aspen during the X Games, friend and fellow skier Justin Dory asked Kenworthy directly, "Are you gay?" With relief, he said he answered honestly. "I immediately was like, you gotta come out," Dory, now retired, remembers telling Kenworthy. "It'll be hard but you will be more at peace and be yourself as opposed to kind of having to live in the shadows and hide a massive part of yourself." It took him a while, but it was unbelievable the way he did it, Dory said. "I'm so proud of him." Kenworthy came out on the cover of ESPN the magazine in late 2015. Instead of losing sponsors, support and fans, he gained them. A year later during the X Games, a writer for the Aspen Daily News came out in a column headlined, "I am Gus," said Spencer. "I'm pretty sure Gus does realize that what he did is so powerful. And he does have a place. And he had a responsibility. That responsibility includes championing the LGBT community and advocating for acceptance." Kenworthy works with the Trevor Project and Happy Hippie Foundation. The Human Rights Campaign gave him its Visibility Award in 2017. "I wanted to kind of be that person to let the younger generation know that it's totally fine and normal because if I had that as a kid, I think it would have saved me a lot of heartache," he said. When Kenworthy was able to live authentically as himself, his best ski results followed. Once he began considering coming out while still competing, he was the first to land 4 double corks in a half-pipe run and won the U.S. Grand Prix in Park City, Utah. The next season, after Kenworthy came out, he won slopestyle at the Dew Tour and half-pipe at the U.S. Grand Prix at Mammoth Mountain, California. After 14 tries at X Games, he won his first medals there, silver in both events. At X Games Oslo that season, he took bronze in half-pipe and big air. "I didn't need anything that I didn't get," Kenworthy said. "I think I got exactly what I needed for me to feel good at the end of the season and feel happy that I came out, happy that I didn't walk away from the table the year before." To be sure, Kenworthy was still progressing his skiing the way he always had. He's finished as the top-ranked skier in the Association of Freeskiing Professionals for the past 6 years, an accomplishment due in large part to his success in halfpipe and slopestyle, while most skiers just compete in one. It's just now that the only nerves he has come from competition and not slipping up and revealing his sexuality. He's always been ridiculously ambitious with the tricks that he does, said Dory. He'll try things that nobody else has ever tried before, and a lot of the time he will end up landing them. Before coming out, Kenworthy worried about how it would affect his career and whether he would lose sponsors. To his surprise, the opposite has happened. United, which he's flown for years, signed him and cast him as a superhero in its pre-Olympics campaign. In a Head & Shoulders commercial, he holds a rainbow flag and says, "My shoulders carry more than my country's pride. They carry my community's pride, my family's pride in myself." Visa, Chobani, Toyota, Comcast and Samsung are among those he's signed before these games. In the lead-up to the Olympics, Kenworthy has been open about his political opinions, saying he would not go to the White House with the U.S. team and criticizing the selection of Vice President Mike Pence to lead the U.S. delegation. "Any sponsor who might be scared off by that isn't a sponsor he needs," he said. "I also think that something that sponsors like about me is that I am just unapologetically me," he said. Though he's told his story of coming out numerous times in the past 2 years, Kenworthy looks forward to the day where an athlete's sexuality isn't news. He is gay and a skier, and he accepts people know him that way, but he's more than just those things. "He's the most fun person to be with that I've ever met in my entire life," said Peter Kenworthy, Gus' father. "He loves to have fun. He loves to laugh. I think he's charmed," said Pip Kenworthy, his mother. "He's charming and witty." Kenworthy enjoys reading. He's currently into murder mysteries, likes to write and loves to spend time with dogs and children. He loves interior design and customized his home in Denver. "There's a lot for things that I think make up who I am, and I didn't want one thing to overshadow the rest of them," he said. "I also wanted to be able to have that one part of me make an impact because no guy had come out in action sports and skiing." Kenworthy doesn't know what lies ahead after this season, though he expects a decreased competition schedule next season no matter how Pyeongchang goes. These games, the veteran skier carries not just his own ambitions, but the pressure he feels to represent his family, his sponsors and the LGBT community well. It's something he didn't have 4 years ago in Sochi. But for all he has gained, this Gus, the one he sees when he looks at photos now, is glad to have that as well. "It's a life I would have never been able to foresee for myself, but I'm so grateful for it," he said, "and I really just loved skiing as a kid and it's crazy how far it's taken me." Axon also reported from Park City, Utah.